Hello, my name's Tom. Today I'm going to show you how to deploy a secure static website using AWS, CloudFront, and GitHub Actions, all automated. A lot of people want a static website, but they also want it to be production ready for things such as landing pages or portfolios. So today, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. You'll need an AWS account with admin privileges to create an IAM user for our automation. You also need to register your domain name through Route 53 as well. If you create a CloudFront hosted zone using that domain name as well, we're going to need the zone ID for later in our automation. Okay, so I'll just run through the setup that we've got here. So we've got our automation pipeline, which I'll go through later. Yeah, so this is our repo for the static website. So we've got the website in here. This is our Terraform, and this is what's going to deploy all of our resources inside of AWS. So if we go inside of here, we can see it creates the S3 bucket. It uses the static site and the index HTML as a source, making sure that we're enabling public access so that people can access the site. And then here we've got all the static files, which we're going to use. And this is what we're going to use to auto deploy our SSL certs for our website. And we've got that here, and we use US East 1. And here we're creating our Route 53 records. And then here we're doing the certification validation, which is needed when you're first doing the certification deployments. And here is where we have all of our CloudFront set up. So it sets up all the distribution which we'll need for all our caching. Yep. And here this creates an identity so that CloudFront can securely access our S3 bucket, as well as the policy for that as well. Finally, our A record, which is going to point to our distribution. Moving on to outputs. And here we've got our S3 endpoint, which is going to be outputted, our CloudFront domain endpoint, and then our website domain name. And then in variables, we've got all the variables which we're using. I'm in EU West 2. You might be something different, but in the United Kingdom, that's what I will be using. And then all the other variables for stuff like our S3 bucket and records. And then if we move on to the version, then we've got the Terraform version we're using, and then the providers within AWS. You might have noticed here it says US East 1. That's fine. It's some of the AWS services relies on US East 1, so we have to use that here. And then just running through the CI/CD really quickly. So every time it's pushed to main, it will deploy. We are loading our access key and secret key for AWS, checks out our code, sets up Terraform, it initializes it within our code, which we checked out here, and then it validates that that's all correct and there's no syntax errors. And then we can do a Terraform plan here, and we've got some other secrets here, which is our S3 bucket name that's going to be created, the region we're using, our domain name, and our zone ID, which is in CloudFront. Terraform plan is going to give us all the resources that it creates beforehand, and if you are using the terminal, I'd always recommend to do a plan before you do an apply. Then finally, we've got apply, which is going to apply all of our resources if everything else is correct, and we'll be able to see it in AWS. So this is the IAM user I created, and this is the policy I used. So it gives us access to ACM, CloudFront, Route 53, and S3. And we've also got the access key here. And if we go inside of our repo, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you've got all of the secrets which we use in our CI/CD. So our access key ID and our secret key ID from our user account. And then make sure you use your domain name and put that in there. You don't necessarily have to use it as a secret, but in our CI/CD, that's what we've done here. And then our S3 bucket name, which we're going to use for our static website. And then for our zone ID, you'll be able to find this in Route 53. We just go to hosted zones, and then we'll find our domain name and then the hosted ID as well. Okay, to get up and running, I'm going to go and clone this repo. We'll use git SSH. And then if we just type git clone, okay, and then we can open this in VS Code. Okay, yeah, so we've got all our CI/CD stuff here, and we've got our website as well. Okay, so I'm just going to make a minor change to this website. I'm going to just put some exclamation marks here, and then if we open terminal, I'll just open our workflow just so you can see what's going on. Okay, so if we just add that. So git add, git commit, push to AWS, which is what we're planning to do here. So if we go git push origin, main, which is the branch that we've got here, what we should see is if we go into actions here inside of our repo, we've got push to AWS. And what that's now going to do, providing all of our code and all of our secrets are in place, it's now going to initialize and do all the applying for us using Terraform. Okay, so you can see here, this is all of the resources which we mentioned earlier, which are now being applied. And if we just scroll down, we can see here, we've got the cert validation. This can range, so it could be between 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes a bit sooner, sometimes a bit longer, but anything over 20 minutes, then there's going to be a problem with inside your Route 53 configuration, and it'd be worth debugging to see what that might be. Okay, so that looks to have completed successfully. If we can avoid the TTL, we might be able to go to our website. Yep, there we go. And we can see my change was here as well, and this is now being hosted. If you found this helpful, then make sure to check out the GitHub repo that I've used and any other videos which I've created around AWS and automation. If you need any assistance regarding this or want to give me any feedback, then just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.